Hey guys, so I want to do what I think will be a quick little video of a review of this Gorilla cart. Now, this is actually pretty new to me, but I've used them in the past for other things, and that's what made me decide to get this. So, like I said, this is newish to me, still pretty new, but I've used the crap out of it since I've gotten it. Now, for a couple things, this is a all white oak right here. This is really heavy load. I mean, here's my hand for reference. I mean, just big old chunks of white oak. This guy right here, I could barely lift it up by myself. Let me zoom you out. I could barely lift this thing up to get it in the cart. So, I mean, there's easily several hundred pounds in this cart right now. And, you know, I just hauled it up from down there. But anyway, the tires, they're not squishing down or anything. I believe this cart's rated for like 1,200 pounds or something along those lines. But I don't know what you could ever load that amount of weight in and still be able to pull it with either by hand. It'll be too heavy to wheel, you know, if you're 1,000 pounds or so. But either way, it's cool that you don't have to worry about the limitation of the cart. I don't know anything that you could fill up within this capacity that would be too much weight for the cart. I'll show you a project that I just did. I had 4 tons of gravel delivered here, and I made a patio. So, I wheeled the cart over to the pile, filled it up with 30 scoops of a shovel, and then wheeled it back, dumped it, and did that like a million times. Now, I say 30 scoops. I don't know how much that weighs. I played around with a few different numbers, and 30 scoops is what I could still comfortably wheel across that terrain and dump it, okay? Now, with this cart, it has this dumping feature. This is just a latch. You do that, and it hinges from this point. It hinges and dumps it, and it can dump totally upside down. Now, something I want to talk about, though, is it is really easy to load this cart up with so much weight that you actually can't dump it, because you have to be able to lift that end to be able to hinge it here and dump it, okay? I mean, let me see if I can set you guys up on something just to demonstrate. May or may not be able to with my setup here. Because like I said, I just got this up here. Let me set you guys here. I don't have a tripod, so I'm just leaning you against an axe. So I guarantee I won't be able to lift this. Okay. Okay, now as I dump this, these back wheels are going to want to go forward and push this up. So I kind of chalk my foot against the back tire here to help. Okay, so actually I'm really surprised I was able to load that, or dump that. That was really heavy. But this thing has the feature where it can dump totally upside down. Super amazing feature, this cart. Like, it's basically a blend of a wagon and a wheelbarrow. Now you can see, obviously, I have it attached to the lawnmower, but with the quick release pin, pop that guy right out. Then put this guy right back in with the exact same pin, and then all of a sudden you have a pullable wagon. Give me just a sec, let me get this guy in here, then I'll show you a couple other things. Okay, so we're back into wagon mode now. Pull this away from the logs. So, now that we're unhooked from the lawnmower, So you got your, so this is locked until you pull this lever, then it releases that latch, and it can dump like that, if you're just dumping sand or something like that, or you can continue to drop it all the way down, as far as you need. If you need to completely drop it, you can, or just store it like this so you don't get water filling up in there, whatever. Now I'm going to keep this up for a second, show you. This thing pivots in the center, okay? And so it can basically turn on a dime. And there's a nut and bolt down here, and you can tighten that or loosen it so you can have more or less friction when you turn it. Like this one, same thing here. I have it where it'll just stand up on its own. I can loosen it just a touch, and it'll fall completely. But either way, here's the hinge point, and that's all it takes is to put it back in. Now, what I found when I was doing the gravel, before I realized this, I put all the weight up front, just kind of, it's just where it was convenient for me to shovel it in at the time. Then I found it extremely hard for me to dump it, okay? But I took the exact same shovelfuls and just started moving it toward the back. Then it dumped super easy. So just something to keep in mind. Put your heavier stuff in the back, it'll dump easier. It's one of those things, like, it kind of goes without saying, but you'll figure it out really quickly, like I did if you tried other way. But either way, this cart's been amazing. I've actually used it at some job sites. I was using it for one thing. I loaded up with like 50 fence pickets and just wheeled it around, with my circular saw and square and stuff in there. Just wheeled it around the yard and just fixing them, basically, like, just a mobile workstation that carried all my material. And then after I hung all that stuff, I was able to use this to go around and gather up all the trash. And I'll see if I can find some pictures to upload in here to show what I've done. Now, I don't know exactly what these little slots are for, but what I've used them for a few different times, actually, is I'll stick just cut-offs of whatever I'm hauling, just shove them in here, and basically just build a fence, and then I'm able to stack it higher. And I've got some pictures of me doing that a few different times, just on the fly. I don't have anything custom made to fit in these. I just use kind of whatever scraps I have around, and that's worked totally fine for me. I believe they make this thing in a couple different sizes. I've got the here's my model number here, if you guys can see all that. I think it's the 12 cubic foot cart. But either way, I just want to give you guys a quick update on this cart, quick review. This thing's amazing. My dad and I used this thing over the last few days to haul up all this white oak. And these are some beefy white oak pieces, and we would get about 3 logs at a time, and I would be sitting on top of the logs, so probably at 150 pounds a log, plus me 160 pounds, so getting close to 500 pounds loading this thing. The wheels weren't squashing in the slightest, like the wagon showed zero sign of reaching its limits. But yeah, I've used this thing to mix concrete in. I actually mixed 36 bags of concrete in this thing. I would do 5 60-pound bags at a time in this thing. And there was still room for more. That was just comfortably what I could do by shovel. But anyway, just to give a little bit of context of how much you could probably expect to be able to mix in here. But I mean, yeah, there's really not a whole lot more to talk about, I don't guess. I just kind of wanted to show you guys a few of the different applications I've used this thing in. I just got this thing out because I needed to empty my burn barrel. So I dump that in here and then wheel it down to the bottom there and then dump it in the, at the end of the property there. But either way, this thing has tons of different applications. Tear off, gardening, just hauling stuff around. I use this actually at a job site as well, because I was at a really steep driveway and I had to park probably close to 150 feet away from the house to my trailer. So I brought this thing and loaded up a load of my tools in this, table saw, chop saw, a bunch of big, bulky, awkward items. And I was able to cut down on my trips up and down significantly because I just brought this thing. Now, it's not something I bring to my work every day, but I knew the job I was getting at, this would be a lot of help, and it was. I guess last thing worth noting is these are big old wheels, and they just roll over stuff really, really easy. Whenever I was loading up this gravel, there's a slight grade up here, but it's uneven. It's on dirt and grass and gravel and stuff like that. I was having no issue wheeling it around. I was not pulling it over these bricks. I waited till after I filled it to put these bricks in. But I was going up over 3 inches of gravel. I used that wagon at that house I was telling you about with that really steep driveway. My quads were burning, but the wagon, it just rolls so easy. You can pull manually a surprising amount of weight with this thing with minimal effort. So there's my review. As of now, I've not had any issue with it. Now, it's still new to me, but this thing has been amazing so far. I generally don't do reviews this early on into owning something, but I've used the crap out of this thing so far, and I just thought I should show you guys, get the gist of it, and thanks for watching, guys.